All right. Welcome. Hi. First quick poll, first quick question also for the people attending this talk on the closure of our study programs online. There's a poll with respect to your capability for different languages. If there is someone attending online who's only capable of English, who's only an English command, please steer into the survey and click yes for only English speaking, because then I will proceed with English, otherwise I will switch to German language. I'll grant you a few seconds for the poll. And now you can actually access the poll. Okay, there's one sheer English-speaking person. Yeah, one is fine. Okay, so then let's go with English. Interesting, interesting. Ah, two. All right. All right, all right, all right. Wieso macht das kein richtiges Vollbild? Gibt es da einen Grund für? Okay, anyhow. Okay, you can stop using this poll actually. One only English-speaking person is completely fine for an English talk. All right, perfect. So, welcome on another talk on the closure of our study or degree programs. What we're going to do today, first of all, welcome, my name is Tim Neubacher. Most of you should actually know me, probably at least. If not, there may be a reason why you have to switch your study program. No. You can get in touch with us later on if you have specific questions, more detailed questions, or if something was not really clear via the advisory email address, Beratung@Informatik. And what we're going to do, I will just shortly present the timetable of the closure, what's actually the effect then on currently enrolled students, our suggestions for possible follow-up programs we're offering by now. I forgot to remove the item presentation of the IT security program because I'm not going to introduce the same, because that was done today in the morning and last time, and it's not that new anymore. And how to gather more information at latest. If you have any questions in the auditorium, raise your hands. I'll try to answer the questions in due time and on the fly. And if you have questions online, just ask the questions. We'll try to answer them as well. All right. It's not going to take that long, promised, besides if all of you have several hundred questions, for example. The timetable of the closures. The Internet and Web-based System program, Internet und Webbasierte Systeme, was already closed by end of summer semester 2022. The study programs, Distributed Software System, Autonomous Systems, and Visual Computing were closed by the end of summer semester 2023. And to make it even more complicated, the IT security program was closed at the end of the summer semester 2024. From the date of the closure, so directly after the respective summer semester, it was not possible to apply and register freshly a new enrollment into these degree programs, into these study programs. But of course, for some time, a re-registration, Wiedereinschreibung, Rückmeldung, is possible. Usually for the period of time for the study program plus a currency time of 2 further semesters, so 6 semesters in total. What does that lead to? Well, you can re-register, so re-enroll if you're already enrolled in the Internet and Web-based Systems in the winter term 2024-25 this semester. So if you're not able to finalize your Internet and Web-based Internet Webbasierte Systeme master program in this semester, plus probably a few more weeks for your thesis or something, then you have to switch because you will be exmatriculated from this program after this winter semester. In the programs Distributed Software Systems, Autonomous Systems, and Visual Computing, you can re-register till 1 year later, the winter semester 2025-26, and in the lately closed program IT-Sicherheit. You can re-enroll in IT-Sicherheit until the winter semester 2026-27. If you can manage to finalize your degree for your study program in this given time frame, the best idea probably is to stay enrolled and just finalize your degree. There's a golden rule: the more credits you already covered, the more things you have already done for your current degree, the more loss with respect to credits if you switch to another degree. Even though it's very close by, the structures are different, the offers are different and whatsoever, so there will most likely be a loss, and the more you already covered, the bigger the loss will be. So, as I said, after the semester specified above, the students of those degrees will be exmatriculated. There will be a few currency times under specific circumstances. That's an official statement, the next one. The modules offered gradually expire with a standard period of studies. What does that mean? Nothing, to be honest. Because we don't have really a lot of mandatory courses in our degrees, plus in the master's degrees, plus they are offered in elective areas in other degrees as well. So in your case, everything will be offered till the last day of re-enrollment, and you can take the subjects and the exams and whatever, but you don't have the right for the 3 attempts, for example. So if a study program is stopped and the time after the closure, including the currency time, is done, it's sheer not possible to take a further attempt, for example. So if you start in the last re-enrollment semester with the first attempt, it will be the last as well for this subject. So that's what happens in your case, but we have to state that officially. And the examinations will be offered up to 2 semesters after the modules have expired. So in case that something is not offered anymore because they define something else for another program, after the last offering semester of the lecture or the course itself, 2 other examination possibilities will be left. All right. So let's assume, whysoever, you need to switch. As I said, the more you have already passed, the bigger the potential loss most likely. Yet, there are of course follow-up possibilities closer by to your previous study program you're enrolled in. Those are only recommendations. It's up to you and your personal interest. It might, just as an example, might be better for you personally to switch into the AIML program, for example, if you're more interested in these topics, even though you lose a bit more credits, compared to switching into some specialization in the CS Master's program, which is closer by, you get more credits transferred, but everything left is not really in your personal favor. In that case, it's up to you to decide, less credits, but not the ones I really like, for example, or more credits to be covered to finalize my degree, but essentially everything I want to hear. If you need advice on the same, drop by in the advisory hours, right? Or make an appointment to discuss it a bit further. But it has to be your decision at the end. For students in the internet and web-based systems, we highly recommend to switch into the Master Informatic program because that's the most flexible one, so almost all credits, if not all of them, can actually be transferred into this program. Both are German taught. You already provided the language certificate, so it's a no-brainer to enroll. You just have to follow the application and switch process in due time, and then afterwards request the transfer of credits. A benefit if you have to switch the programs, it's your decision which modules and courses should be transferred. So if you have a lot of failed attempts somewhere or not really good grades, for example, you could just leave them out of your first request of transfer and improve your CGPA, your Schnitt. So that is actually also a chance if you got stuck somewhere, for example, or if you're not really fond of your combination anymore and whatsoever. For the distributed software systems, it's recommended to switch it to the computer science program or the German taught program, but then of course you need a language skill certificate, right, in German. The computer science program is the closest to the distributed systems, software systems, distributed computing, potentially the closest, but definitely not all of the taken courses can be transferred into this specialization. And not all of them make sense for the theory and software hardware catalogs where you have to conduct a minimum of 6 credits because there's a topmost limit as well. So therefore, it's expectable that at least a few of the already passed courses may be lost afterwards. But that's your best shot if you don't have a language certificate in German Command, C1 level roughly. A no-brainer, autonomous systems. Our high recommendation is to switch into the autonomous systems and robotics study program, because these programs are essentially the same. Not that many changes, 5 to 6 credits general education, the same areas now split into 2 different distinct areas, mandatory electives and electives, where mandatory electives is always a subset of the elective areas. And everything you've conducted so far can of course be transferred into the follow-up study program. That's exactly the follow-up study program, so that's a no-brainer. For visual computing, we highly recommend to switch into the German-taught Master Informatik program, because it's so flexible and you don't need another language certificate. If you can provide an English language certificate, it's also an option to switch into the specialization visual computing in the CS Masters program. Then you will have the specialization in visual computing again on your final documents, right? But to be honest, it's more about content rather than the name of a degree. So therefore, you should probably get cross-checked how many credits you can actually transfer in the specialization, because there are slight differences. The application area, Anwendung, from the Visual Computing Masters program is non-existing in the specialization in the CCS program. And we have to have a look then how we can transfer those credits in the more generic theory and software hardware catalog, for example. And of course, for the students in IT security, if not applicable to enroll in the IT security programs, and that's a bit stupid now. So students from the MSc IT Sicherheit, the German-taught IT security program. If you have an English certificate, the best recommendation is to switch into the English-taught IT security program. That's a direct follow-up program like autonomous systems and robotics. Similar areas, different structure. For example, the number of credits that can be taken in the beforehand selected complementary topics is now way more limited in the complementary topics area. It's a bit broader with respect to topics, but it's not possible to gain exactly the same amount of credits. So if you focus a lot on selected complementary topics, whatsoever, in your security program, you should really think about whether it makes sense to switch, right? That's the program where you have the longest period of time left in order to finalize it. Also 5 to 6 credits general education, so a bit of difference. No mandatory courses anymore. Introduction to cryptography, embedded system security and IT security are now thrown into the different areas, actually, and they got different names. So it's everything that's a bit more flexible, but a bit more broad with respect to selectable content. But on the other hand, a few changes in limitation of credits in different areas, so therefore it might actually be a loss of a few credits. That's essentially the most important information you have, because everything else relates to your personal forthcoming, to your personal plans, to your individual situation, how many credits you have passed, in which area, in which areas they are adjusted in the new programs, and so on. What I can recommend is take your transcript, take the Studienprüfungspläne, examination plans on our websites with the boundaries for each areas and specializations and whatever. Look up the course description handbooks, even though they, as you might already know, are always a bit outdated. But most of the courses you have already taken shall be found somewhere in these Modulhandbüchern, course catalogs. And then you can do a mapping on your own. So that's going to be transferred into this area and so on and so forth. Then you can calculate the credits already. There will be some missing courses and whatever. With this subset, just drop by in the consultation hours, Tuesdays, Wednesdays between 10 and 12, for example, or ask for an appointment, or just send the combination via email and ask whether those credits can also be transferred and into which areas. We will get back to you, explain that then in person, and then you should have the best overview of what will I have to do if I switch into a specific program. So, just because one of your courses you've already passed, for example, is not included in the course description handbook, in the module handbook, doesn't necessarily mean that it can't be transferred. It has to contextually match. That's the reason why you won't find all of your previously passed or taken courses in the course description handbooks, because it's just a subset and we update it the same. So most likely you will have a few courses left after you check that on your own. You need to clarify against us. And your best shot is actually to get in touch with me, most likely, because I'm responsible for transfer of credits in the master's degrees. All right. Any question already, either from this famous internet, where we had a lot of questions today already, or from the auditorium? There's a question. Proof of English. Not. So the question is, how can I prove my ability of English command or language command in general without a certification? And the unfortunately correct answer is not at all. Different responsibilities. If you have an international Matura, an entrance qualification, non-German Matura, Abitur, the International Admission Office is responsible to verify the language certificates. Just Google Äquivalenztabelle SPZ TU Darmstadt. Equivalency table, that's a language facility, the abbreviation SPZ TU Darmstadt, and you will directly get to the official list of accepted language certificates. Oxford, Cambridge, TOEFL, IELTS, TUEC, and so on. Definitely officially not allowed the AAD language certificates, because they are only used for exchange affairs, right? If you have a German Matura, Deutsches Abitur, there are a few more options actually, and we as a department are checking the language certificates. We're not allowed to act on trust solely, even though we actually expect each and everyone to have the capability to study in English if you already studied a bit in our department. Computer science and English, right? Anyhow, formally, legally, we're not allowed to just act on trust. But we have a few more options if you have a German Abitur. In that case, probably get in touch with us in advance anyways, right? I would highly recommend the TUEC from the official ones, or Cambridge or Oxford. First of all, cheaper than TOEFL or IELTS, and more durable. The other ones are outdating after, I think, at latest 2 years. And some of the other ones offered by TUEC or Cambridge, Oxford are actually valid for a way longer period of time, for example, and are cheaper. But have a look into the list and see what's required. You can as well enroll, first of all, for example, if you provided the language certificate in English because you're enrolled in an English program. You can't manage to finalize the DSS program in due time. What you could do, you could enroll first of all in the AIM or the CS program, take courses that fit into the German program you're actually aiming for, and then you have 1 semester more to get such a language certificate actually. That's an option. Looks a bit strange in your CV at the end, but it's explainable, so therefore shouldn't create that big issues, to be honest. All right, any other questions? Nope, it doesn't, and we don't require the same. The central facilities and the legal base requires the same. We asked the lawyer's office, is it possible to enroll students or admit students if they have passed a specific amount of credits, for example, in English already, or if they conducted their thesis in English? And the clear answer of the lawyer's office was no. And then we stopped asking. It's really, so international students are not in our hands anyway. So if you don't have a German Matura, we're not the ones to check that. It's International Mission Office. So no influence, no interfering, no whatever. We can ease the situation a bit for the ones we have the responsibility for, but we still need some proof having a C1 statement on it, or partly C1 or something. That's the der Europäische Sprachreferenzrahmen, the European Framework, Language Framework, CFR, A1 to C1. And we defined in our regulations the entrance qualification with respect to the language skills to C1. So therefore we need some kind of proof, B2 C1, partly C1 or completely C1 or higher. And we can in the department accept a bit more proofs, but a certificate where you had to speak English or whatever is exactly the same as taking English courses here in the bachelor's, for example. It's not that we don't believe you, that you can cope with the situation, really. So our goal was actually to enroll as many students with as less requirements as possible, but the German legal base is not easy to get around at that, unfortunately. What you could do as well, enroll in another German program, for example, study a bit, get one of the cheaper and durable certificates, and then switch to the right program a semester after. Yeah. Yes, but a very specific rule to cover C1. You need to have English as a Leistungskurs or third examination subject and a minimum of 8 points in the written exam. Or it may be stated B2 partly C1, B2/C1 or C1 on your official certificate of the Matura, of the Abitur. Both is applicable. But if you have Grundkurs or it was not the first, second or third examination subject in different federal states, or if nothing like that is stated, nothing to accept here. But that's also another option, right? But we also accepted, for example, specific C1 courses from other universities, English for computer science, where actually was stated the level of the CFR table. And that's fine for us as well. It's a regular language course in a different university, but it states C1, it was given at a university, so that's fine for us, as soon as we can check that. Right? So that's what I meant. We have a bit more possibilities, but we still need to have some kind of proof and the statement C1 somehow written on it. That's it. All right, any other questions? A few questions online. No questions from the auditorium. Okay, let's start with the internet. Hello, internet. Wo soll ich draufdrücken? Okay, so regarding the closing of the program IT-Sicherheit, if I'm a student who is at the end of this program, only 2 courses in the thesis left, and I will definitely finish the program in 2025. Am I really required to switch, or can I just finish the old program? You can just finish the old program. The high recommendation here is to stay enrolled in the IT-Sicherheitsprogram, just finalize it. You will be forced to switch after the last enrollment semester. So, after winter 2026-27 for IT-Sicherheit. Okay, the next question. Are 6 months enough for a master thesis? What's the percentage of students who finish the thesis in just 6 months? Well, after the formal registration, you officially only have a 6-month period and you have to submit your thesis after the 6 months. So a lot, most likely, statistically. How many students get some preliminary time granted by the supervisors to prepare the thesis? I don't know. I'd say a lot. But how many or the percentage? No idea. If you only have a short period of time left, and the thesis is one of the things you have to do, start very early to search for a thesis topic and broaden your horizon. I think that the biggest issue might actually be to get a supervisor in due time, not to finalize the thesis done in 6 months. Some people are running around for weeks, months, or even half a year to find a supervisor for a master thesis. If you run into any issues finding a supervisor for a thesis, directly drop by in a consultation hour. It is possible to get a supervisor adjusted by the dean's office, but then probably not in the area you actually want to conduct a thesis in. So that should be somewhat the last resort, but in order to gather the information, get some more hints how to approach people probably, or we can actually get in touch with someone on an individual base, drop by if you're searching too long for a thesis, at least if it feels like too long, right? If your study program is closed at least. All right. Hey Tim, is it possible to drop by your office without an appointment? If yes, what's the best time slot for that? Yes, the best time slots for that are Tuesdays and Wednesdays between 10 and 12 because I offer open consultation hours without any appointment required, exactly Tuesdays and Wednesdays between 10 and 12. Anyhow, sure, just have a look. I can't make any promises. I'm always busy, busy, busy. A lot of talks in orientation day, for example, appointments, meetings, whatsoever. But if you see the door open or lights on, just have a knock, enter the room. If I have some spare time, I will take my time, if applicable. If you see me running around in the building, just get in touch with me, ask me. If you see me having a cigarette outside in my outside offices, outside of the Piloti building, get in touch with me. I'm completely fine. But it might be the case that I'm not available. So if you want to be sure, Tuesdays and Wednesdays between 10 and 12, or ask for an appointment and then let's meet at a given time. The next question. Are there any cases where the transfer of credits to the new German computer science master's program leads to a loss? So far, no. But I personally have checked probably like, I don't know, 15 to 20 people. So not really a good statement, to be honest. It's a very, very low end compared to the number of enrolled students. But with the flexibility, it shouldn't cause any issues. All seminars, labs, and teaching interns, Praktikum der Lehre, are transferable. All computer science related courses are transferable in any of the areas. If you have only, I mean, structurally, let's assume that you have focused on only software systems and formal methods so far. And it's not even working out. No, I really can't think of a situation where at least lots of credits are lost, or even one course. I don't think so. I really don't think so, but I can't guarantee the same. So far, no loss. What is the way to register for a placement exam for German courses? What is the way to register for a placement exam for? Via the language facility. I see. Right. With Unicert, which is another option actually, parallel to the CEFR or CEFR courses and modules, one needs to get checked by the language facility. What is your current command in the given language? And based on their decision, so let's just assume that they think that you have a B2 level, then the next step would be to follow the C1 level courses, or Unicert 3, for example. That's their decision. They are offering the appointments, these placement exams and whatsoever. Look up their websites. You will find more information about these placements on their websites, language facility. All right, any other questions? Some individual things in the auditorium. I'm not really unhappy if I can have another cigarette and then probably work something in the office, because I was just providing talks the whole day through so far. All right then, thanks for the attention. Good luck with everything. If you have follow-up questions, just let us know, right? Have a nice day then. Bye.